I'm Julie Shepherd. I'm the founder and director of Jazz Jurassica, and we're here tonight at Marine Theatre for the Soul and Blues show. And with me, I've got Mark Eade, who runs an agency called the BiGiAM. So, Mark, tell us about BiGiAM. What does it do?
Well, BiGiAM is people. It's ironic because people think I'm so loud and opinionated. They think that I came up with a name, but actually my business partner who had the company before me is very shy and modest and retiring, so it was ironic. But the BiGiAM has really morphed from being an organisation that really looked after Joe Harmon, who's appearing tonight, who I've worked with for probably a dozen years now. But then also from that we ended up helping other artists really through PR and promotions. And then, just drop us a few names of who you've got on your roster. Well, on the roster now, on the agency, we've got people like Georgia Van Etten from Australia, I know he's going to play here again, and she's a fantastic sort of jazz soul influenced singer. I've got Holly Rogers. I've got so many. Connor Selby, who's played at Wembley Stadium because with the Who, and yeah, I mean, and we've done PR from a lot of people, and I've also worked with Lamont Dozier, who recently died. But for me, it's not so much about the big names; it's about people who I really believe in and really enjoy their music. And,
yeah, because you're quite unusual in the business in a way, because you get quite personally involved in the development. I mean, it's like A&R, more A&R than PR. I mean, you're here tonight. You've done this is a 12-hour round trip for you.
It's a 16-hour, I think it's going to be.
Oh, right, okay.
It's going to be 12.
Yeah, it's a sore point, isn't it?
No.
What drives you to do this?
Well, there's a guy who's one of my heroes I've been following since I was 16, a guy called Hamish Stewart, who was front man of the Average White Band and worked with McCartney and all kinds of people. He once said to me, 2 things matter in the music business, truth and beauty. And it really made me stop me in my tracks and thought, well, you know what? We can all chase Spotify numbers, we can all chase this, that and the other, and the business side of it, which we all need to do. I fully respect that. But actually, as I get older and I'm in a position to work with people I want to work with, I think truth and beauty are a really good measure of, what is really important in music. And I think I'm lucky and very, very fortunate to be working with artists who are very sincere and I think are just incredibly artistically gifted, and that's what really drives them on. If I'm honest.
It's not just about the 10% and disappearing off with a thing called swag down the cob.
Yeah, I don't think any of us would be in it for that alone, or if we are, I mean, it's just not that kind of business. We're in it for the love of music and the arts, and I love people who can self-express and be sincere with that, with lyrics, and it's just, I know it's corny, but that's what really just makes me love it.
I mean, what was the thinking about putting together this kind of show? Because in a way, all of these artists that are appearing tonight merit a headline show in their own right, and yet what they've done is pulled their talent. Look, where did that idea come from?
Well, funny enough, I sent this to a big promoter called when I set the agency up, which was during lockdown, ironically, which is a crazy idea to start an agency during lockdown. Nothing was going on, but I did a little show reel which I sent to Adrian Gibson at AGMP. He does a lot of big stuff, and he said, why don't you have your own night? And I was like, oh, okay. And what do you mean? He said, no, I want all 5 artists with one band. Have your own night for London Blues Fest. So we did it. And then another festival rang me up and said, can you bring that lineup down to this? And then we thought 5 artists is too many. I mean, it's just too many and also they're not available all the time. So I can't even remember how we agreed this one, Julie. Probably a bit of both of us putting our heads together.
Were you drunk?
No. I think it was just you and I saying, well, why don't we do this? And
I'm quite into reviews. I've put on several actually. And,
yeah.
You know, I'm a big kind of Motown and Stax fan, so I can remember the Motown and the Stax reviews.
You're far too young, but you've seen it on YouTube. No, actually, me too, and they were just incredible. But I think. And it's great it works because Eddie plays piano and it's a cost-effective way of doing this, and it's great for the artists to kind of meet each other and vibe off each other. So it's good, from that point of view. It's really nice to do things differently. And this is a bit of an exclusive. I don't think this lineup has been anywhere else. So
this is a world exclusive,
yeah,
folks, here at Marine Theatre.
Exactly.
Regis, yeah,
and it's and we appreciate your support. You've had Joe here before. You're having Georgia a couple of times. It's beautiful theatre, beautiful setting. Just a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
That's nice to know. Obviously, you've had a lot of experience in the past, but also, as you say, you've been through the pandemic, and now we're so-called back to normal.
Yeah.
But it's very far from normal,
Yeah.
isn't it? Tell us a bit about what's the live music scene like at the moment. What are the challenges?
Oh, I think there's a lot of challenges. I mean, Joe is just about to start a 7 or 8 date tour of 300 cap theatres with Mike Farris, a fantastic Grammy winner from America, Tennessee. And when we planned that, we had a much healthier situation. But I think post-pandemic, it has been tough for promoters. It's patchy. Some things tonight's sold really well. Could even be a sellout, but that's certainly not the general situation. And I know a lot of venues are struggling. A lot of gigs have been cancelled through lack of numbers. So we are fighting a big fight. And petrol prices are going up. It costs to touring. CD sales are on the wane, if I'm honest, because people they haven't got CD players in cars or computers. So it's very, very challenging. Even overseas postage, with overseas fans. But what else do? You just it's in their lifeblood to do it, and it's not. The challenges are increasing, but we got two choices, haven't we? We either throw in the towel, which none of us are going to do, or we just battle on, and we be grateful to the people who do support us and come out, and we've got to be optimistic. We've got to find some optimism in this crazy situation that we're in politically and everything else right now.
It's been a bit of a week, hasn't it?
It's unbelievable. It's almost embarrassing for the American artists coming over. It's like we're normally used to taking the mickey out of their situation. But Jesus. Yeah, anyway, I won't swear.
Yeah.
We're on the radio. Yeah.
If a kind of new, kind of young, ambitious artist turfs up on your doorstep, looking for a deal with you, what are you looking for, and what kind of advice would you give to kind of young artists that are trying to break through?
Well, I go back to truth and beauty. I think I'm not against people who are looking for other things in music, and there's a place for everything and a lot of things. But I think one of the problems we've got, if I'm being really honest, is that I can't go into your house and change your electricity. I can't go into a hospital and do an operation. But there are no barriers to entry into the music business. And there are 22 million songs released every year. Are they really that good, a lot of them? Not sure. So I think having real skills and real artistic integrity is something that gets overshadowed by this massive noise and fog. So I look for sincerity. I look for somebody who's not going to Nashville to write with a load of co-writers, or ticking boxes to make the Spotify numbers bigger, or put the hat on that does well into and good luck to those people. I'm not down on them. But for what I'm looking for and the artists that I want to work with, and I'm very, very elite. I'm very, very choosy. I'm not bothered about the money. Well, I'm not driven by the commercial aspects. I'm driven by the artistic integrity, and that's the kind of artist that I want to work with. But I also do consultancy, and the first thing I do is try and almost psychoanalyse in a good way why they're coming to me, and if they want to do it because they want to become famous, or they want to be on the front cover of Mojo, or they want to have what I call Hello Mum moments, that's fine. I can give them advice about that, but I won't take them into my roster because, well, I haven't got a lot of room in the roster. You can only give your attention to half a dozen people, and as you say, and career development is a big part of it. And also the sort of artists I'm looking for are quite elite. They're quite unique and hard to find.
Yeah.
In my view. I mean, or for what I'm looking for. I'm not. Yeah.
I mean, how receptive do you think artists are to kind of sort of genuine feedback? As a promoter myself, I think I've only ever been asked once by an artist for feedback on a gig.
Yeah.
You know, how did I do? What did you think?
Yeah.
Only once.
Well, I'm the most opinionated man in Britain, so I give advice even when it's not sought. Which
You don't wait to be asked.
I don't wait to be asked.
You're that
generally.
kind of boy. You just leap straight in.
Yeah, but also I think if people come to you for consultancy, if I go to a gym instructor or I go to a therapist, or I kind of want, I don't want them to say what I want them to say. I want them to tell me what I need to hear, and not what I want to hear. So I take that approach to music. Doesn't mean I'm right, and I say that. It doesn't mean I'm right, but in my view, this is some things you could consider. So I'm very opinionated, and I have a very A&R approach to music, and if I'm honest, most people take it, but they come to me, I suppose, wanting that advice.
They're knowing that. They're knowing what they're getting. But
I don't pull my punches, because I just think you've got to be direct. There's no point in... And people kind of... they may not agree with you, they kind of respect the honesty.
Yeah.
I think it takes time, but I think people at least... If I say something's great, they're going to think, well, he probably does think it's great. Or if I... Yeah, anyway, that's... But I have upset some people, as you might imagine. But I don't want to be unkind. I just think honesty is a bit underrated as a virtue, really.
Yeah. Well, let's test you out then. If there was one artist you could bring back to life, who would it be and why?
I've got so many answers on that. Am I only allowed to say one?
Only one.
Probably Donny Hathaway.
Okay. Why?
Because he is taken, he may or may not know, he threw himself out the 13th floor window. I don't know how old he was, but he was a relatively young man, and I just think he was a music genius. I think Donny Hathaway live at wherever it was is one of the greatest records ever.
We'll try and play some of that.
John Lennon, Dusty Springfield. There's lots of people I could also throw in that ring, but I think Donny was I think he's got the best male voice I've ever heard certainly in that genre, and I think he was incredibly sincere, and he had incredible musical integrity, and I think he would have gone on to make even greater things. He was a kind of Stevie Wonder in his genius, as it were. And I know, in fact, he was a big influence on Stevie Wonder, actually.
Thank you, Mark. That's great. And thanks for being so kind of candid about your approach.
So thank you. Thanks for the invite, and hope I didn't rub it on too much, as you can tell I talk a lot.
Okay, thank you.